nature is self-luminous clarity status. It is empty, it is clarity, it is essence of the nature. And from that, this is also known as, then, it says, you used many different terminologies. I already said those. In the Tathagata Garbha, and the Dharmakaya, Panjaparamata, and self-born Buddhas, all those different names that is all that same thing. Is from this, now how this is started the delusions. This is, again, said here, this nature is pervasive nature. Nature has no partialities. It's open. But since it's arising energy arises when sentient beings, when this energy arises from that nature, then we, sentient beings not immediately recognize that is self-arising energies. And we played subtle thoughts of the subject and objects, kind of separations, subject and object. That is, when you play that thoughts, that is then beginning of the ignorance. That subtle thought of subject and object, and when that subtle grasping, small deviation thoughts, even though it is your own display, our own display, but yet didn't kind of immediately realize that and play as subject-object notion, and from that then begin to extending then ignorance. That beginning ignorance, here Great Master pointed out as ignorance, self-born ignorance, is that moment. So that means original ignorance, that dullness. When that kind of a little bit stronger, and then again, that didn't stop the display, arising energy didn't stop there, began to spontaneously expanding more, and then grasping the subject or object notion started expanding. Not just expanding, also same time, then we had more kind of a little bit strength of the graspings, one after another. From that, and then all the emotions arises. And a little bit, that is so. And that is then as the emotions, and then all the not such as emotions, the seed of the attachment, and as well as anger, and then jealous, and then arrogance, and with that, and together with that, and then hope and fears. All that begin to arise. This is, with that happening, that is known as then, immediately that habitual pattern, that print is, that whatever that happening is printed, or that habitual is already started printing, that is known as then the alaya that registered every habitual pattern. It's not the different alaya or the grounded there, but within that status, within that ordinary nature status, then all these habitual patterns are one after another kind of like imprinted. That is known as how the sentient beings are deluded. And for that reason, again here Great Master took the quotation from the Tantra. Tantra, or known as unimpeded Tantra, Dzogchen Tantra, and from there is a similar statement, same thing as like prayer of Kundazampa. When the ordinary nature is not from the ordinary nature, from the ordinary nature, from the ground, when the energy arises, and that moment, we not recognize that energy is the same as one's own display, and there is then subtle. Here use the numbness, or the still subtle panic started. Subtle panic, numbness thought as separation subject and object. that very is the beginning of the delusion. That very is the beginning of delusion, and that was said in the Dzogchen Tantras. So then, from that that subtle ignorance, and then all the different ignorance are arising. Those are known as 7 different kind of like subdivisions of ignorance. Then that all started, and those are then here used as like grasping, attachment, dullness, numbness, and so forth. I'm not trying to count these things, but however, then is the little bit also sloppy, forgetfulness, and all that arises, and all together is subdivision of the 7 ignorant kind of begin spontaneously all that. And from this ignorance, and then when it's become gross, stronger, then become the notion of the ego clinging. Me, and myself, all that. When that happen, then there is also notion of the others. When we have the ourselves as clinging to ego clinging, then others, and that is again a great master known as the Dharmakirti in his teaching. What he said? He said, moment you grasping to yourself, that moment you also projected others. And the moment we grasping to ourselves, we attach to ourselves, and we start to kind of distance others. From that, then attachment and all these emotions arise one after another. So they're exactly the same thing. As we hold to, same thing, here said too, same thing. As we hold to ourselves, then we kind of start holding others are different. And then through this, then all the different emotions arise one after another. And that ignorance is known as exaggeration ignorance. So here, ignorance, what? Very beginning is this inborn ignorance, all original ignorance, and after that, and more kind of label, and that is exaggeration or labeled ignorance. This ignorance is also sometimes known as emotion consciousness. And it is also part of the mind consciousness, according to the act consciousness. Because it's projected as such a subject and object, then this then is also begin to have so many different attachments, so many varieties of attachment with the ignorance. Ignorance is the continuation, kind of keep upkeeping, maintaining that. But with many attachments, such as then there is all subdivisions, 40 subdivision attachment counted in the teaching. But again, what are those? Such as a few of those, as like attachment, grasping, clinging, important, and craving. Those all kind of part of this. But anyway, all that is known as then the attachment. All that arises. From this attachment, then expanding more habit patterns that continue flowing one after another, and then more stronger coming, and then is known as then started getting anger is coming that. But that anger is carried by the powerful also the force of the wind energy that comes with the attachment and ignorance, strong, pervasive, and that is then, because of that all the different kind of like habit patterns are grossly begin to come, such as the body, country, and our mind. And that through that, then the 6 or the 5 consciousness are begin to develop. And the 5 consciousness are then such as eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the 6th is mind. And that through that kind of that force carried us, our mind stabilization is carried out that force, and that together with the combined with the then the wind energies. Those are the 5 root winds and the 5 branch winds. And maybe I also won't count those five. I think whenever you heard those before so many times. So I won't count. So 5 wind root counts, root, wind, and 5 wind that related with the 5 organs. Maybe I said the other day too. But those are the root. The branch winds are related with the 5 organs. The wind of the eye consciousness, wind of the ear consciousness, wind of the nose, and then tongue and the body. Those are the branch wind. And then 5s are the big 5s. And so that these 10 become the as hopes or the vehicles of the consciousness and carried everywhere, and then also through that expanding all the delusions and project it back and re-strengthen that, and then goes on and on. And this is all known as then symbol also known as emotion consciousness. All together can be named as emotion consciousness. From this, again, all together then what gross level. And if we are fulfilling this, all the kind of desired things, is called attachment. If not fulfilling everything, and there is a certain kind of also then hated in the worries comes. And those are known as the angers. And all angers are kind of, again, subdivisions are 33 angers. Those are the subdivisions. And what are those? Generally, again, worry, sad, and as well anxieties, and then as well as agitations, uncomfortables, and then anger itself, tormenting. And all the together, there's a 33 related with the kind of little bit highlighted as anger, call it as. But of course, it has attachment, it has ignorance, all that. It's not just anger itself. All that is combined together. Every 3 of these, therefore, known as 3 portions, is all combined together, and then started to working, and all is known as emotion. All this 7 ignorance, 40 attachment, 33, I think it all comes almost about 80 different emotions. Yeah, I think 80 different emotions. 80 different emotions. But again, it's just different subdivisions of the way it is reflecting, but all is in 3 portions. 3 portions are root of the emotions. From that, then all these expandings. This goes on and on. That is how the samsara is maintained. And that's how the samsara is continued. This becomes our passage, deluded beings passage, and that all the result, whatever it comes, result, that is played in the screens of their ground. Same ground of the nirvana, same ground of the enlightenment. And more as is playing there, and again it started with maintaining, reactivating more and more spontaneously without any effort, without any hardships in a way. All that emotions arise in this. This is how the way samsara beings are deluded. And this is how the sentient beings are continuing. And through this, again here Great Master says, through this, then power of the inwardly to the kind of the physical. And we have the body, which is then body, ourself is based on the three those elements. Za, long, and thickness. Za, long, thickness. Za is the principal root of the body, and long is the wind. So channel, wind, essence, element of body. And the channel is the root of the body, and wind is the which maintaining, as Great Master said. It's all maintaining, but that is the passage of the that wind which is traveling with the passage of the channels, and mind is carrying throughout the channel and every directions. This is. And then, and all that happening, even though there's nothing is really solid existing yet, but it's all happening on the surface level or in the relative level as dream. Magic dream and all that happening. And now all that happening and the same thing as samsara. And samsara in the 6 realms or the 3 realms. This is. And we are going unending all the time as water will. Water will, and that is how it is. That is a general explanation, ideas of the samsara, how diluted from same souls, or same ground of the nirvana where it comes. And even we are wandering in a samsara like this is nature is never affected. Never diluted, as I said before. It is called Buddha nature. There's nothing really changed at all. That screen I used example. Or the ground. Foundation is never changed at all. Never changed. For that reason, in the great Tantra known as Tani, Akvanipa Tantra, is Hevaja Tantras. And that Tantra teaching said, all the sentient beings are the Buddha, yet they are covered up by the obscurations. Covered up by obscuration temporarily. But that means otherwise everyone is a Buddha. As it is, this nature, reality level, as it is, or as that teaching said, every sentient being is originally enlightened status. Enlightened in the 3 kaya status. Dharmakaya, Sambhokaya, and Dharmakaya status. They're already enlightened status. That nature of the 3 kaya is glowing. Even we are completely diluted in this duality, that fabrication, covered up that, but the nature of this 3 kaya is brilliant, is glowing, is brilliant. When we reach enlightenment, that 3 kaya you just discovered. You discovered that time is again brilliant. I'm using those 3 words here in the Tibetan word, lami, langi, and lini. Those are slightly different, but it shows that even in its cover up time, it's glowing. If I use another word, it's glowing, and it is covered up. Even we are going all through these different difficulties, but still is shining. And when we reach to the Buddhahood, it's still glowing. So it's the same thing. Nothing really changed. It is just the nature, nothing changed. For that reason, this obscuration is removable. It is not ordinarily inherited. It's not come with nature. It came as temporary. As when we are dreaming, nightmares, such as, for example, in nightmares, it is not natural. It is temporary, illusion. Therefore, we can wake up from nightmares because it's not natural. Same thing, this all experience, difficulty, challenge, it looks like so big, so deep, so strong, so wide, yet it is not natural. Pretend this is not natural, therefore we can remove. That's the teaching. Nature is pure. Nature is brilliant. Nature is shining or radiating. Lami, lingi, langi. All these words are used, but I don't know exactly how to translate. Maybe Eric, this book has better, but I don't, it's just, it's difficult. But anyway, so is brilliant, is glowing, is shining, is brilliant. Oh, that's the word I use. So it's the same thing, nothing really going to change at all. Change. Therefore, and we walk the exactly right way, according to nature itself, the quality of nature itself, nature of our ground, nature of our mind, and we walked as that call it line, then it will lead us back to that nature, to that ground, or to that organ levels. And therefore, nature is the Buddha teaching. Always, what is the quality of nature? It's love, it's compassion, it's wisdom. Those are the simple, again, there's so many variety kind of, or subdivisions can be said. Other day we went through those roughly, those 37, even there's more numbers, all that. Those are the quality of the true nature, or the radiating energy of the nature of our mind. And we kind of line up with that and follow that, expand that, then we follow in part of the nature with nature's qualities. That well, then dispel the obscurations, the delusion, that which is not natural. And that is known as removing obscurations. So